hello, darling, and welcome to the Just Jax podcast. Hi, I'm Jax, and I help you find the can in your cat. When we challenge our cats, miracles happen, because when I challenge mine of I can't draw, I can't paint, and I can't color, imagine my surprise when I discovered what I can do is create a 21-foot garden mural that was recently featured not once but twice on the front page of our local newspaper. Next up, I challenge the I'm no author, no artist, and no cursive writing specialist, but what I can do is self-publish 3 books for my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, Crack the Cursive Code. I'm a jack of all trades, but what I master at is helping ordinary people like me to do extraordinary things through laughter, tears, life-changing stories, because metaphors are my jam. Together we can find the can in your can'ts, the do's in your don'ts, and the wills in your won'ts. I'm so excited for you. Let's go. Well, hello, my darling. Yes, you are hearing my voice correctly. I am on the path to feeling better. My body is feeling better, but my voice has decided to take a Christmas break. It'll be interesting to see what my voice sounds like on the other side of this sickness. This voice is going to be fun. I am very proud to announce that I have had 500 downloads since the start of my podcast. And considering that this is episode 39, I was thinking that I would get that around episode 52, which is my goal. I plan on doing this for exactly 1 year and seeing what happens after that and whether or not I continue. I have consistently done this podcast and released a podcast every Tuesday. It has been touch and go, and a couple times it's been late due to sickness and just flat out resistance. But I have persevered, and I am very happy that I was able to accomplish that goal for myself. My first episode is still my number 1 episode, and number 4 is the second most popular, and that is the one where my dear co-worker, and maybe I'm hoping soon to be friend, I would like to spend more time with her, for she inspires me so, is Marnie Flanagan. You can listen to her story on episode 4 of how she had a stroke and lost the use of her right arm, her dominant arm, and is fighting her way back, and is actually now back in a salon where she has a chair and doing hair. And when I saw a vision of myself at 60 and who I was, I no longer had colored hair, even though colored hair makes me younger. I have decided to go back to what my natural color looks like. And it's quite fascinating because if you see on the video, I have quite a bit of silver. I am more gray than I was the last time. And I figured the more natural she has to match per se, the easier it will be for this to grow out, because I want to be that person that I saw as a visual on 60. She was empowered. She was independent in all the right ways, and she was free. And it was quite surprising when I saw that her hair was silver and white, per se, than colored. I booked my appointment in April. My son is turning 30 in April, and I've already booked my appointment with her, and I'll be going back to my natural hair color. And who better than to have Marnie do it? I apologize too that my voice is so bad, but the show must go on. And if it's better tomorrow, maybe I'll record it tomorrow. But despite how much talking or lack of talking I've done, it stays the same. I learned some very valuable things this week about myself and my network, and I'm struggling right now. For my hubby and I had a really bad fight this week, and they just keep getting worse and worse. And I realize now that I am in a relationship with my dad, that he is an upgrade, but the only upgrade I think is because I stand up for myself. Whereas I think my mom got to the same place that I am now, is that you just stop fighting and you just stay. It's tough because this has been going on a very long time, and I turned a blind eye to it, maybe because it's something I'm used to and comfortable with. But I was sure that where I found my husband was the reason that my situation would be different, because I met my husband at a self-help workshop, one that was a very intense one. This is one where you want to go there because it was 7 straight days of group therapy, and no one forced him to go there. This was his second time. The first one, he was in a desperate state, and the second time was one that he went to under his own power because of what he experienced during the first one. And that's where I met him. And there were little things that I was looking for. I wanted someone that was patient, and if I interrupted or talked or did anything, that he would be gentle with me. I really wanted some kindness and some gentleness, and he displayed that during the workshop. And two, I wanted someone that wanted to take care of me if I was needing something. And there were incidents there where he was very kind and considerate as well, and caring. And so at the end of the week, where we spent a solid week together, very much like a Hallmark Christmas movie or a Nicholas Sparks book. And it was funny because I was out of a relationship and had closed off this relationship, and this gentleman was working his way, attempting to worm his way back into my life. And I no longer wanted to be around someone that was impossible to talk to. And I explained all of this to this new gentleman, and he was like, well, you deserve to be treated better, and I'm the man for the job. And so he was everything that I had checked off on my list. And I'm ashamed to say my list was pretty small, but I wanted kind, considerate, and tall, dark, handsome, and educated, because my last few men never went to university, and this gentleman had. And because I was ingrained that is the most important thing, you truly are someone if you've spent 4 years learning about something else and got really good at telling them about what you learned. And no disrespect to that, but because it is difficult and it takes a lot of effort, it can do very little for the person and their personality and who they are as people, and help them to be better people. It elevates them in their status, but does it elevate them as a person? Sometimes people hide that because they feel elevated there, that they fail to realize that there's more elevation that's needed. And the case is here. So with this last doozy of a conversation, my hubby told me our relationship was over. But the reason that he told me it was over was because I deserved someone better, and that it was too impossible for him to fix himself. For I'm in the same scenario again, that my partner is impossible to talk to, that whenever I bring up a need or concern, it gets turned back on me and everything is my fault. And that has stemmed from my mom, because my mom constantly says that everything is my fault. And that was one of the hardest things about this last conversation, is that the person that is supposed to love and know me the best basically took the same side as my mother. And one of my exes, part of the moving around the rooms, has come at a really great time because I've decided to move into the other bedroom. It was an easy transition since I was so sick and sleeping on the couch anyway, so he has been in our bedroom by himself for a while. But when I got healthy enough to sleep back in the bed, this discussion happened, and he wanted the divorce right there and then. And that's interesting. I've never had a guy ask for a divorce, but the reason for the divorce was the reason why he's having all these problems in the first place, because of thinking that he's a failure. Now, has he failed in certain areas? Well, fuck yeah, so have I. But in order to move forward, there has to be a period, I find, of like meat tenderizing, where you go from this tough exterior and you get pounded around a bit. And that's the accountability. And depending on the extent of you've done, the pounding can be pretty bad. I know I've gone through that pounding with my younger son, and I've talked about that in the past. But I had to listen to him talk about all the ways that I failed him for, I'd say it was almost a year. I went through that. And then finally I had a conversation with him, and I said, so I need to know, am I the same person? Like the same version of mom that you remember that needs to be talked to or treated like that? And he says, well, no. I said, well, I'm glad that you recognize that, and that makes my heart feel good. So I understand also that I am worthy of the crimes that I've committed, and that the jail that you've put me in, I deserve to serve the time there. However long you feel I deserve to serve it. But if I am a different person, then I also deserve to come out, and to come out of that jail. In the meantime, whatever flogging I need to have done, and however he has to say it. It's almost like being in person, what we've seen people do in hypnosis and other types of therapy, where you have them picture their parent, the one that's hurt them the most, and they're allowed to say every vile thing that they need to say, how they let them down, how they disappointed them, how they hurt them, how they felt abandoned, anything that came up to mind. And they say it to their parents so that they can get it off their chest of how the parent failed them. And I have failed my kids. I failed to let them know that it was a safe environment. It was safe because I was a tough bitch. Their hearts wasn't safe for them. I had no idea how to make it safe, but that still doesn't change the fact that it was unsafe for them. It was their experience, and it was my job to protect them. And but protect their hearts is what I missed. But you can only do what you can do. And the only gift I can give to them now is acknowledgement of the fact that I know that I fell short in those areas. And so my son hit me pretty good for quite a while. But I took the beating, whatever you want to call it, because I deserved it. That was his experience. And the only way he's ever going to hear or see my side or a context of it is if it becomes the adult in that situation. For as long as he's the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14-year-old boy, there's no logic there. It's still all emotion. So he would never hear me. But now there's an opportunity to hear me. And that's the difference with my younger son and my older son. My older son is still trapped in the cycle. And that's okay, because when the time comes that we can have a communication and we can have a relationship, I will be ready. And I realize now that my husband has been a training ground for me to be ready, because I'm still behaving somewhat the same, for I still react to his behavior and give him exactly what he wants, a reason to be angry. And my husband's anger is pretty high. But what's fascinating about the entire thing is I have no fear of it. Even with the point where he asked for the divorce, I was like, okay, the thing that I feared the most was losing my house and my home, because I have put my Jaxification all over this house and property. And the idea of losing it all and needing to start over again really frustrated me. And it was funny, my last episode is about grief. But you know what I would grieve? I would grieve this home. I really would. And I'm beginning to understand now what this feeling is. And it's sad that pets or people that give you affection have very little impact for me. But this property, and I look around all these little things, but this place is the first place I have felt safe despite my husband's behavior. Well, have I ever felt unsafe around him? Yes, but it was with his driving, nothing to do with the house. And I guess that's where the difference between myself and my mom is part of the problem I have with my dad and with my husband, is the lack of fear. But I am no longer subscribing to this, and I need to know how to make this different. I gave him a timeline of Valentine's Day where I either move back into the bedroom then and we become a couple, or I stay here and we just live as roommates, which we have been basically for months now. So either way, it's a win-win for me until I can get on my feet and really learn how to become independent and take care of myself. And that has been the biggest wake up, is I've just wanted to be rescued, really. And I have no idea how to rescue myself. And it becomes a problem when you've made yourself in a situation where you're dependent on many things and you need to grow up and become independent, but have no idea how or what to do that. Do I have a job? Yes. Luckily, my job is I can work from home, so I can be anywhere to do that. That is awesome. I have been given offers from friends that I could live there, but when the rubber meets the road, that means I have to start over again from a position of loss. And I understand about how the arrow needs to be pulled back. I'm almost to the being to the point where how much further back can I get pulled before I catapult forward? I really want this to be something where I have happy chaos. I really just want some happy chaos. And yesterday, my hubby and I went to Canada to do my Christmas mailing, and it had some bumpy parts and it was somewhat better. But I just really want it to be good. It's where we can have some fun. He's just grumpy, and I'm tired of being around a grumpy, depressed person because I've now become somewhat that person, and I no longer want to be that person. My Christmas spirit is gone. Usually you get very excited about doing Christmas and my lights, but my house is dark. And here it is the 20th of December. And I usually do so much decorating for my house to make it a happy place, a bright place. And it's dark. This is the first year I wanted to do a Christmas tree. And here I'm sicker than a dog with no energy. And that's where this whole fight with my husband came to be, because I wanted to ask for his help because he's used it against me that I refuse to ask for help and do things on my own. And he thinks it's because I'm a strong, independent woman. But I'm a strong, independent woman because asking him for help, I'd rather have a colonoscopy. That would be easier and feel better. It's like dealing with an insolent teenager that just stands there. And when I asked him for help on moving the 3 rooms, he wants to be hired help that has absolutely no emotional investment in what's going on. And I want a partner that I can talk to about it, and we can decide what's going to, and just be a part of it, whatever part I need for them to be. And he struggles with being there in any capacity for me. And that will be the deciding factor, really, is whether or not he can conquer the demons that keep him from doing that, because I deserve better. I deserve to be treated with kindness. I'm a good person. I've made some choices that have some pretty serious consequences, but I am a good person. I am being around someone like my husband, who is a very vindictive, angry person. It's like I have another one of my mother with me again, where they fail to see me. I'm the common denominator in all of these situations. Me. So the work starts here. I deserve better. This is bullshit. So this new year, 2026, is about believing in what I deserve and standing up for what I want and what I need, and learning how to ask for that. I am going to do my best to be emotionally mature, because I have been emotionally immature. I have been reactive. Now, am I reacting to, I was going to swear, his behavior? Yes. Would most people react to his behavior? Fuck yes. But in order to break the cycle, I have to do something different. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Oh, I need to learn what's different. So I asked my hubby if he wanted to do something on Christmas Day. We are doing a Christmas wish list. And that wish list is, what do you want in this relationship? And I gave him time to think about it, because actually this was a new reaction, because most times he bites my head off, or why are you doing something like that, or something like this. It was usually a dismissive, negative response. And so this was a positive one, where I can find out what he wants in the relationship, so that when I'm making my decisions, I know what he wants. And I'm going to put on there what I want. I want a minute every day, every morning, where we have just undivided attention and connection, because he is so focused on taking care of himself to go to his lousy job and his rotten commute that he must muster all of his energy to do that without recharging himself with me. And I go to him and I get minimal attention or connection. Let's put it that way. 2, I want him to ask me first what I want before he thinks and decides what he thinks I want or what I need, because he thinks I need space when actually I just want to be around him. Well, the man I thought I married instead of the man I've been living with. And this is where it's very difficult, because if I have been in love with potential this whole time, it's going to be rough. And that's exactly what he said in our last fight, that the man who I thought I married, he was acting. I have now until Valentine's Day to date my husband and find out if we truly are meant for each other and if he wants to be in this relationship, because we met at a workshop. And in the entire, wow, 12 years that we've been together, I have been doing small workshops and self-help, and I have outgrown him. Just call it as it is, because he's done absolutely nothing for the last 12 years, admitted on his part as well. And that is part of the fight, is he's 12 years behind in his mind. And it takes a certain person to take on a fight like that, which is quite convenient for him, because I am that type of person. I am the type of person who has fought the good fight. I told him so. He goes, well, I'm just so tired of listening to all the stuff I've done. I said, well, that's tough shit for you, really, because that's part of it. That's the ownership part. Now, for me, I'm giving you this opportunity because I really feel that there is a strong connection there. We have it. It's just been, the air has been sucked right out of that flame many, many times. It's sputtering, but it's there. And so there's a lot of work that has to happen on both our sides. I need to become emotionally mature myself and stop looking and being thankful and comparing that my husband is less than me. So since I'm higher, there's less work for me. But at the same time, I was afraid that if I worked on myself and became myself, that I would lose my relationship and my home. I'm here now at half mast, so might as well go and be as bright as I want to be, because then if he's with me for a good reason. So with this move that we're doing between Christmas and New Year's, it's going to be a new experience, because I'm going to have a room and he's going to have a room. One of the things that's going to be quite fascinating for him is that there is very little of myself in that room on the regular. When I had to move out of the room, I still have to grab it, is my Apple Watch charger and a blanket. And that was the only thing that I had to move out of the room. And it's hitting my husband pretty hard, because he never wanted to be in separate bedrooms, even though he was like a teenager and wanted to spend as much time in his bedroom as possible. And despite with me coming in there and wanting to like draw him out, he still wanted to spend up until noon on the weekends by himself in that room, and I'm not going to put just, because that is minimizing whatever he needed to do in there. And it's a long wait for me if I'm up from 2:00, because he wants to get his day started at noon, and I'm already like starving and I'm losing any kind of energy to do anything around that time, because I've been up for a long time already. I've been up for 10 hours doing stuff. So there was a bit of a disconnect there. But what I got out of this is that it's time for me to grow up at 59. And if I want to become the version of 60 that I picture in my head, I need to do that, because that woman there takes no shit and is loving and has integrity. And I have those things. And I'm really tired of being surrounded by people who want to tear me down, and they call that love. They love me. I'm sorry. There's no love there. There's jealousy. There's fear, insecurity. There's that. But love? No. And if I am scaring people to treating me badly at this light, can you imagine? And maybe that's why I have the belief that I needed to stay small and I never grew up in the first place, because the brighter I got, the less air I got to try and put me out. And I've had some really good attempts at taking me out. And yet here I am, stronger than ever, really. And I guess that's what the podcast is all about. Finding the can in my can't, because I've had a lot of not enough. But everything was my fault. Maybe I need to flip it around. Am I expecting everything to be everybody else's fault? No. And maybe that's why I have that, so that I could be the chain breaker and remind myself of what my accountability is, and where I stop and they start, and holding them accountable for theirs. But we had some very serious flooding here in Skagit County where I live. And that's the second time I have been around catastrophic flooding like that and been safe just enough to be dangerous, but also just enough to be almost imaginary. One of the things about that is that the sandbags and the levee and the flood walls, all those things, precautions were made to hold back the flood that was coming. And I'm unsure of what side of that I'm on sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm with my husband and what happened. I did everything in my power to keep the flood of what's going on with them and their lack of accountability and the way they handle that, the way they attack my character. It's tough because why do they keep attacking my character? And you know why? It's because it's there. No matter what they do, I stand strong. And it's easy to blame it on me because I'm the strong one. And I get told quite a few times, everything is so easy for me. And I'm beginning to question that. I'm sorry. My life has been nothing but easy. The only thing going on right now that's really working well is my job. And I'm thankful for that. And that's actually showing some cracks in certain ways. But I'm the type of person where everything works out for me. And it will. Because I'm there. Some type of miracle, some kind of fun thing, something will happen. And my human design person said that I am here for a life of conflict. And through that conflict, my stories help. They let you know that you can do this, whatever it is. And that's where the can comes in, is I can do this because I've done it many times before. And that's where I'm the type of person. I'm the type of person who stands up for myself. I'm the type of person who knows what's best for me. And I'm the type of person that can get through anything because I have. And maybe that's why the people that come into my contact, that it's time now to be around people that challenge me to grow and stop surrounding myself with people where I can self-elevate, self-promote, and put myself on a little bit of a pedestal because I've done this, and this. And that's the thing about pedestals. There's always one higher. But if the goal is to get higher, you can have a long way to fall down. My goal is to get as grounded as possible. Because if you have a really good foundation, your foundation has to be solid. Because if you're only worried about height, there's a whole bunch of complications in that, especially height and rate of descent. But if you build yourself very solidly, and if you get high up like the pyramids, it doesn't matter what comes at them, what weather. Well, I guess maybe a tornado might do something. But if you put a really strong foundation, the chances of survival of any storm are much higher. And that for me is time for my foundation. What I deserve, what I want, and stop settling and start trusting even more in who I am. The idea of that everything needs to be conflict kind of pisses me off because I really would like some happy chaos for a while. Getting $250,000, that would solve quite a few problems for me. Quite a few. So it would put me in a really good space. I would pay off my debts. Then I would do what I could do to purchase this house. Because this home is very important to me. It's the first place that's felt like home, a safe place to be. Despite the spice that my husband brings, this is still my safe place. But in order for it to become the safe place that I want it to be, there needs to be more fun and more love surrounding me and more play. And this rest that I've had with being sick has made me realize what I want and what I deserve. And that is a great thing. That is a gift. And I am thankful. And I will be thankful for if it works out that this house is gone from me. I know that there's got to be something bigger and better because I'm the type of person where everything works out for me. This will be the end of our podcast episode. And I want to remind you that our episodes drop every Tuesday. And I'm excited that I am at the home stretch of this year that I have been doing this. And I hope that in this year that I have given you the inspiration and the strength to tackle the things in your life and know that I'm in your corner and that I'm here with pom-poms going, you can do it, because finding a way back to yourself is the greatest fight you could ever give. You can contact me on Facebook and Instagram or email at justjax, JAX podcast @gmail.com. I have my t-shirt designs of Loser, Forthwith, and Shift, as well as my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, which I'm going to start talking about a little bit more, crackthecursiveCode.com. Thank you for spending your time with me and for listening, even though my voice has been a real piece of work. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Love you. Jack's out.